Yes, y'all. Welcome into episode 102 of the Dumb Marks Podcast, your favorite Saturday brunch bunch. Best four-man booth in the business, back at it again. Although, if little mysterious, little mischievous thing going on today, is Chris here? Is he with us?
No, he will be in comment section wise. That's about it.
I thought he was gonna pull like just a voice in it, and we could all just kind of look
Zord
around.
on.
Like, yeah. So Chris is having internet issues. He still ain't paid his damn bill from last week. So he will be commenting along. Don, are you running the ones and twos today then?
Yes, I am.
Oh, buddy,
let's hope it's a good show. Let's hope it's a good show.
Yeah, but this may go completely off the rails. I literally just got logged in 2 minutes ago. Chris is not here, although don't blame Xfinity. Okay, add some tinfoil to your router. Do something, man. You got to figure this shit out. Okay, this is like 3 weeks in a row you've been slacking on getting the internet fixed. And we're supposed to go over there tomorrow to pod live.
Live.
For Worlds Collide and All Out, and this dude wants to have internet issues. Jeez, man.
Boy.
All right, we good? Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna cut straight through the bullshit today because there's a lot going on. If you're a sports fan, especially if you're a football fan and a wrestling fan, this is like
best of both worlds.
Yeah, emotional overload this weekend. Like, people are gonna be drained after this weekend. Especially me. I started Thursday night, right? Pitt, West Virginia, backyard brawl. Oh boy, we'll talk about 11 years too long for something that should be played every single year.
Very true.
That pick six happened, and my adrenaline shot through the roof, and I was up very late and had to get up very early yesterday morning, so I'm still recovering from lack of sleep. But so we're gonna do things a little different today. We're not gonna have all the main segments that we normally cover. We're gonna deep dive and break down Clash at the Castle today. Go over our predictions, touch on anything from the week that was WWE.
Yeah, got World's Clash predictions too.
We're doing Worlds Collide today too.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, see, look, I'm the dumb mark that wasn't online early enough for the pre-production meeting. So,
if there was one,
yeah, I don't think there was today. No,
it was just me and Jason just looking off into the world.
That's it. Staring off at each other, looking deep into each other's eyes. All right. So we'll break down that. No drink of the week on the main show this week. We will be bringing that to you live. Chris got a little cocktail that he's going to mix up, hopefully. If not, we'll stand outside and do it from our cell phones instead of at his house with the Wi-Fi going. We may have better luck doing it that way. But so no drink of the week. Sports-wise, we can touch on a few things. Go over. There's like 4 big-time games on this weekend, college football, that I want to dive into, just predictions, run through, and then anything else that we may have seen in the world that was, to wrap it up today with final thoughts. So, with that being said, anybody got anything else to chime in before we get into these predictions here for half of one of the main promotions running this weekend?
No, I'm good.
She-Hulk twerking. It's all good for me.
How you feel about it? You still buying in? We're 3 episodes in right now?
Yeah. CGI is still a little iffy for me, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm buying it. I like it.
I love how even though the expectation was set that this is not your typical Marvel comic series, like they let you know from the get-go, hey, it's gonna be comedy. This is gonna be comedy. We're gonna break the fourth wall. Like, let's not come in with our serious bags and be all, oh, you didn't follow the comic all the way through. Like, relax, okay? I'm enjoying it. I'm so we'll see. We got 5 episodes left, I believe. Right? There was 8 total.
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9 total, and we're
5 or 6.
3 weeks in. So Yeah. We are less than 1 week away from Cobra Kai season 5. So next Friday, I'm probably gonna pull an all-nighter and come into the show next weekend because they dump everything next Friday. The boy's gonna put in, 8 to 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours on Netflix to run through that bad boy. So yeah, we're looking at that there. So a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to cover. With that being said, you guys ready? Break down the week that was in WWE and these predictions.
Yep. Ready? All right.
All right. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know if you saw the new mug. Man, the myth, the legend.
I have someone around here like that too.
Shout out to my brother-in-law for getting me that a couple years ago.
The Funkle.
The Funkle, nice. The fun uncle. So normally I have the Grumpy cup, right? With all the different faces of Grumpy. But my wife was washing it this week and she picked it up by the handle and literally it just came off. Like
it was time to go.
It was time to go.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And that mug is like 13 years old at this point. So like
it was time.
It ran its course, even though it was a nice heavy duty mug, it just had to go. So I'm like, man, I gotta find a new coffee mug. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I got the Man, the Myth, the Legend one downstairs on the bookcase. And the only reason why I haven't used it before is because they put the sticker for the price on the inside of the cup, not on the bottom. So I had I had to get all the glue and everything else before I could drink it, or else I'd poison myself. So yeah, but I was in there scrubbing and getting it all off this morning. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So it's working out a little different, but just adds to the repertoire of nicknames that I will call myself on the show from time to time. So, all right. With that being said, WWE big weekend, huge weekend actually. We got Worlds Collide, and we also have Clash at the Castle, first major pay-per-view in 30 years. SummerSlam 92. Where you guys want to go first? Hold on. Let me pull back before we get into the show. Wise, we'll probably do Clash first since it is today. Rose Collide tomorrow. Did you guys watch the Triple H interview with Ariel Helwani?
No, I didn't.
I didn't catch all of it.
All right. I know Chris sent it over yesterday in the group thread. I watched it. I actually went back and rewatched it because of how good it was and the insight in where Triple H is going to be captaining the ship moving forward. And I think a lot of that plays into what you're going to see this weekend between both pay-per-views, right? He said SummerSlam, he inherited a lot of that as far as the first major premium live event under his regime. He was able to take some things, tweak it, make it his own, add some spice to it. We saw that with Bayley coming back, Dakota, EO, some other things. But this truly is his first weekend at the helm, premium live event, 60,000 people plus in Cardiff. Now, expectations going in. You feel good about the show? You excited for the show?
I feel good about the show because before Vince left, it just felt like a house show, just like a Uber house show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now it feels like that there's stories, stuff like all weaved in it to make it like a true pay-per-view.
Now, is this his official build to Cardiff?
Yeah.
Or was he still running with a blueprint?
So, majority of it is his, right? There were some things that he kept put in place. Mm-hmm. Whether or not he changed finishes or took a match off that should have been on. Like I saw Rousey was supposed to be there, but obviously she's not. So there may have been some tweaks along the way, but for the most part, this is all his vision and his build to his first premium live event. So I guess you can say not the kickoff to the Triple H era, but pay-per-views are different. They're supposed to be different. They're supposed to feel bigger than what you watch on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And Donald, you brought up the point there where it actually feels like a culmination of storylines and events to make you want to tune in like it used to back in the day.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because at first it just felt like another Saudi Arabia show. It really did. It did. It just said, look, man, it just seemed like, oh yeah, we're gonna send Drew over there, just to get the fans all riled up and everything. Another house show, but now it doesn't.
And I think the direction that I changed when he took over, right? Like and maybe it's just the blind faith behind Triple H right now because what he's done to this point, and we can get into it a little bit with last night's show on SmackDown, but for the most part, what he's done has been all positively reviewed. He's built new faith back into the product. People are believing where he can go creatively because we've seen what he did with NXT, to where that brand was arguably the best creative show put on a weekly basis for how many years in a row. So I think that the phase is there. The fan base is excited. I know the fan base in Cardiff, when we get UK shows, I mean, that crowd is a completely different crowd. You're going to get singing. You're going to get chanting. Yeah. There may be some flares in the crowd. Who knows? Like we may have the full on football / soccer experience at this live stadium show, which I think would be awesome if that's the case, right? Mm-hmm. If they let them go at it and go crazy ham and everything else, like it's just only going to add to the show itself overall, which is the case with any wrestling show, right? It's as good as the crowd makes it, because if the crowd's dead for it, it doesn't matter if you have a 7-star match. It's just going to be, 2 people in a ring, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm just hoping there's no like lull match where the crowd takes over. Like, I enjoy when the crowd is a part of the atmosphere because of the match. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see the wave in the middle of a match because it's boring. So I'm hoping every match
lives up to some point.
But it probably won't.
The only one that I can see that happening just off the top of my head going through the list would be Bailey, because anytime she's in the UK,
they go crazy.
I mean,
and this, the singing, you know what I mean?
That's because of Bailey, so
right. So, like, if that's what you're talking about, as far as the crowd taking over a match, like,
yeah, they take over a match for that cause because it's Bailey. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah,
all right.
Not meaning, like we get the beach ball because the match is boring.
Yeah, no, I don't see that, and that's the difference between the US crowd and the UK crowd. Like, you'll get overpowered by the UK crowd with the chants and the singing and all that, to where it sounds like they're taking over the show for, going into business for themselves, as they say. But realistically, that's just them and how they cheer on a wrestling show. So, like, if you're a younger viewer, somebody that hasn't seen or doesn't watch UK wrestling and how the fans react, it's just like, it's going to be culture shock. It's just like seeing a Japanese crowd for the first time you watch a New Japan show, or think of how the difference is between
each culture,
the crowds based on cultures and everything else.
Think of Sammy in Canada on 10.
That's a perfect example for how that crowd's going to be. Absolutely. That's a great correlation. Ooh, big word. We need a bell. Correlation. Ding, 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 ding. Correlation tying 2 points, straight line. Yeah, there you go. No, but that's a perfect example of what to expect tonight over there for how they're going to be. So, instead of running through the week and that, let's pull up the card, run through the matches. We can tie in what happened on both shows, and then any other points that we want to get into before we get into Worlds Collide. Because there's stuff that Triple H said yesterday in that interview that tied directly into Worlds Collide that I want to bring up with him and Ariel. So let's get into the Clash card and break down predictions. What we got first, Donald?
Okay, we're doing non-title matches first, and then we go into title matches. So the first one would be Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day.
I don't want to completely crap on this out the gate.
I will.
I'm pleasantly intrigued based off of what happened Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like fans have been calling Dominic to turn on Rey for probably a year and a half now at this point. Or vice versa, Rey turn on Dominic. We just want them to apart. Like, yeah. It's over. It's run its course. It's not helping Dom. It didn't get him over the way that they thought it would get him over. And Vince just continued to run his head into the wall with that and let them continue to do the same thing. It's time for a change. Dom needs a fresh coat of paint, whether that's on the main roster or down in NXT. He needs something different. And the story that they're running right now with it, I actually want to see the match, which they've completely flipped me from whenever it was rumored to be. This is where they were going with it. The only drawback is I would have much rather have seen just Edge versus Finn in Cardiff than it be a tag match.
Same.
I think Finn deserves that singles match in the UK over there by himself, because they were supposed to get him and Walter, and then the pandemic hit, and that's been on the shelf for 2.5 years. I think Finn deserves that one-on-one match just to get his just due from the crowd over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not mad based off a storyline, what they've done, and the intrigue they've left. So I want to see if the trigger's actually pulled. Judgment Day wins, Edge, Beth Ray. Yeah, I mean, you could have went with the triple threat, but you already had a triple threat booked you already had, a 6-man booked on the card. So do you want to run 2 6-man matches on the same card when there's only going to be 5 or 6 matches?
What is this? AEW?
We can get into that. We'll get into that tomorrow with All Out. But I like Rhea being left off because of the story they're telling with her and Dom, and you saw him hand her the kendo stick on Monday. So I think there's more possibility for not shenanigans, but another layer to be added into it. I mean, let's face it, if Dom turns, we all seen the turn coming a mile away, right? You can't surprise everything, but at least it'll be done in a way that makes sense and fits storyline with what they've done over the last several weeks.
See, this is where we need Chris here, because Chris had firsthand experience. Chris was there without the gang. I would love to.
Yeah, listen. It's been a long week. It's been lack of sleep the past 48 hours. This jag-off. And for those of you that don't know what a jag-off is, in Pittsburghese terms, it's an asshole. Okay? So that jag-off that can't pay to get his internet working right sends over pictures from Monday Night Raw, which took place in Pittsburgh. It's like, whoa, hey, wait a second.
10 minutes before air.
Yeah. 10 minutes before they go live, talking about, hey, guys, look at this. It's like, are you... And I wrote back, "Are you there?" Question mark. And he's like, "Yeah, it was a late birthday present. Blah 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 blah." And bullshit. Okay, bullshit. We've known since Cody torn his pec that they were coming in August. Okay,
and we decided not to go.
Randomly get tickets to go. Like, did you take your sneaky link, as the kids like to say nowadays? Your side piece. You went on a little date down the Monday Night Raw, and that's why the boys didn't get an invite. So I'm glad your internet's not working in on the show. Okay,
He
You
did a
can
CM
comment all
Punk.
you want. We may not even put up your comments. We may just read them to ourselves. Okay. Oh, I found out 6:30 on Monday. Yeah, okay.
Apparently, that person doesn't watch the show because you were the last person to go to a Raw show.
So yeah,
CM Punk, he put in the
boots on the
business for
ground.
himself.
He's boots on the ground, and I didn't even see him do nothing productive for the show. I didn't see the Twitter feed blowing up. I didn't see nothing. Like he probably had no merch on, just went down there with a plain blank black t-shirt. Guy's unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah, that segment, it turned into nothing for me, like at the end. So I was just like, that kind of got me out of it, but I'm still willing to watch Ray and Edge. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's better than Dominic and Ray.
Edge and Ray are legends. Judgment Day's young. You know where I side with this.
Ray and the legend. Ray's still in the game.
Not to me, he's a legend, but everybody else says
he's a legend. But Ray's still been wrestling. He's been going through. He's
again.
Now look,
he's not coming back.
I'm going Judgment Day because you know me. I'm sick of Ray. I'm sick of seeing Edge. So
this is the perfect match to see. Like, if this was a Vince Saudi show, we know exactly Edge and Ray are winning, right?
Oh yeah,
because they love the legends over there, the old timers, attitude era guys, etc.
Yeah,
they always go over. If I'm booking this myself, I put the Judgment Day over here.
Yeah.
They need a win because they had to turn on Edge. He went away. They really didn't do much with them. They were floating along. Edge comes back at SummerSlam. They're put right back in the program with Edge, and now we're running to this payoff. You got to do something to establish them on the roster as being a legitimate threat. So
yeah, solidify them.
Against all logic, I'm going to go with Judgment Day here just because I think they need to win more.
I'm going to go Judgment Day. Ray takes the pin, so Edge is still
go home.
Okay. So you can get him and Finn.
Go home.
Because the story isn't over yet, so
go home.
All right, what's next?
Next we have Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins.
Hey, he dropped the freaking.
Yeah. Again, another storyline that's been going on before SummerSlam. You know, they pulled the quote unquote injury angle with Riddle. They did the little bit at SummerSlam, and now we've continued it on injury wise and such and such. What'd you guys think of the sit down on Monday? Did it do it for you? Did it change your mind on the match? Did it get you more excited? What were your thoughts as you were watching it?
Live? I was already into the match anyway because I know both of these guys could go. So that just added more to it. Mm-hmm.
Do you think, because I got and I saw this thrown out a lot, and it's a valid comparison for those that watch UFC, but I immediately got like the Cormier Jones sit down, like interview back and forth. You know what I mean? Like with the shots. If AEW would have did that type of sit down, would it be heralded as one of the greatest segments ever?
No, because they do it every week.
On Rampage.
But I don't think it's the greatest ever. I mean, the off interview part. Yeah, the off or not the when they cut back to the cameras. When the interview was over. That extra.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is them treading in new waters. I don't mind it. So was it the best ever? No. Do I need to see it every week? I hope not.
I think what makes it, and Triple H talked about this with Ariel yesterday. it's personal, right? He talked about Scott Hall and the simplicity of Scott Hall's mind when it came to the business, and how he would be there and he would talk up to him about all these complex things that he wanted to do and this and that and the other. And Scott was just like, so let me get this straight. You're going to do all this stuff, right? But if it's real and it's personal, you would just do this and you would just do that. And he was like, yeah, that makes way more sense. And got ever more. This is personal, right? I talked about your wife. Said she's the only man in the family, right?
Easy.
He shot back with, you don't have a family because your wife divorced you and left. And that really touched the nerve to where it was like, hey, bleep you, mother bleeper. I'm coming for you. Where you at? I want to find you right now. And it's like, oh, hey, sold and personal. Both guys can go at it. You know what I mean? They've taken shots at each other before, but this was just the little bit extra to get me on the hook to really want to watch the match.
Chris said the best segment from Raw. That personal touch sold me. Still got to go with Seth for the win.
I'd agree with you, Chris. It was the best segment.
But yeah, I mean, there we go. We've talked about this time and time again on this show. Wrestling's best when personal stuff is tied into it because it blurs those lines. And this was just a job well done. Tack on. There he is. Seth called him a bitch ass with no family. That's my king. Yeah, that pretty much summed it up on Monday night. Tremendous job by both guys. I thought, you know, Riddle's line about Becky and everything else, like I thought that was well done. And Seth being the slimy, sleazy architect that he was, already had the ace in the hole. It was just waiting for a reason to say it. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those where you're arguing with your boy or a friend, and they have something on you, and they're just waiting. Like, all right, if you cross the line, I'm coming back, and this is going to get really heated really fast. And Riddle crossed the line, and Seth was like, all right, slap down the Joker, you know, domino, mother bleeper. You ain't got no family because your wife left you. And that was all public. That was all public knowledge, right? We saw that play out for Riddle. Are you glad that he's back to being Matt Riddle?
Yes. I like whole names.
Riddle, I don't mind. Theory, yeah.
Whole name.
Rumor was Theory may not go back to Austin Theory because he actually likes being just Theory. So he may just continue on as that. That was one of the rumor mills that I read through this morning. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was dumb to drop the Riddle Matt in the first part, but then he's been Riddle for so long, and I just even called him Riddle talking. You know what I mean? Like to that point where it's past it. But yeah. So Seth has been arguably one of the best wrestlers this year, and he's lost like 50 some matches. So
they said that.
Crazy to say. So I wouldn't be surprised if Riddle gets the win here, but this could arguably be the match of the night on the card itself when it's all said and done. So
loss hurts neither one of them.
No.
So
this is one of those rare instances where either guy can lose and it's not going to affect them. Absolutely.
I got Riddle for the win. Just Steve, like you said, there was that graphic that came up on social media said Seth been the most unselfish wrestler this whole year and everything, and his image is not hurt one bit at all.
I think he's arguably more over this year than years in the past, and he hasn't won shit, which is crazy. But that just goes to show you the level that he's on as a performer right now, because he is. You want to talk about a guy that's completely in his groove and in his character and knows exactly, what beats to play while he's out there. He's done a marvelous job this year, and it's been impressive to watch, because anybody else that would have went on that type of losing streak this year would have been forgotten about and done. So maybe he had extra equity built in because he's Seth Rollins and we've seen what he's done in the past, but you're not supposed to lose basically an entire year it'd still be as over as he is. It
And you're not
doesn't
even
make
playing the
sense.
card that I lost.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not down in the
Hasn't played it once.
Yeah.
Or like
Hasn't
you
played
said,
it once.
or like somebody to his level, you know, start that backstage politics, like when am I going to win, this and that, you know, getting all mad and everything about it. When he's just like, hey, I'm just going with the flow, you know, I'm just going with the flow. Now somebody else like a brother around in some part.
Save that for tomorrow's show. Save that for tomorrow's show.
I'm gonna go
Right.
Seth.
Okay.
All right, so we're split on this. We're divided. So that's good. All right, what do we got
All right,
next?
next one. All right, next we have the 6-woman tag: Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky.
This Monday night was the first booking decision that I was not upset with, but I didn't like from Triple H.
Taquan said he got Riddle for the win.
Okay.
And you also got Bayley stable for this one.
Yeah, I didn't like Io and Dakota losing on Monday night.
No.
I didn't mind it because I was expecting something else. There was so much time left. I was like, something's happening. But,
yeah, I didn't like them losing. You know, if you read the tea leaves and everything else, USA Network is extremely happy. And this doesn't even make sense because they don't have SmackDown. So take it for what you will. But both networks per se are really behind Raquel and like the way she's been presented. And she's being built to be the standout star from that tournament. So I can see why you put them over, even though Aaliyah got the victory with the roll up. So that didn't really make sense if you wanted to be Raquel and her be dominant.
supposedly on the wrong person, so
yeah,
play out further.
Yeah, but yeah, I let Bayley. I mean, if they're all about control and everything else, let them win it and run with it. Like, especially if you're going to bring Sasha and Naomi back in the fold at some point. And Triple H was asked directly about Sasha Banks in that interview with Ariel, and you know he gave his 2 cents on it about it being a communication breakdown, and that's a process that you need to go through to get trust back and everything else. But then he also talked about it's kind of on Sasha and what she wants to do with her career, and you know whether or not her passion for the business outweighs her passion for other things that are outside of the business and what she wants to do. So not saying that it's not a done deal, because we talked about last week how they you know, played the 2K video game and it was all about Sasha. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the booking of the finish for the women's tag tournament just kind of made me go, okay, what are we really doing with this stable to begin with?
He does bait and switch a lot in this tournament.
Not giving
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it is something that can be questioned for sure based off of that.
And a loss hurts neither of those three. Asuka, Bayley, Asuka, Bianca, and Bliss.
Yeah, I mean, if Bayley and them are gonna go over, this is like the dusty finish match of the night for me. Like, there's gonna be some type of shenanigans or whatever. Like, I don't think this is gonna be a clean 1, 2, 3 for Bayley's group to go over, which that's my prediction. So it's just a matter of, do you have Bliss or do you have Asuka take the pin, some form or fashion? But I got Control winning this, even though they haven't come out and called themselves Control yet. That's what everybody else has just tagged them at this point. But yeah, I got them 3 winning.
Same here.
Same.
Yeah. This was easy. Once they made the match, I knew they were winning.
Now, what's the next pay-per-view after this?
Man, they change it all the time. So I wouldn't even know.
Because there's supposed to be another Saudi show in November, right?
I was thinking Unforgiven.
There's supposed to be another Saudi show in November, and then after that we're going to turn around and get into Rumble season.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme Rules is next.
Extreme Rules, okay.
Would you be okay if this kicks off and leads into Bianca versus Bayley at Extreme Rules, or do you want to save Bianca versus Bayley?
I'll say Bianca versus Bayley, because if they're fighting at Extreme Rules, then there's going to have to be a stipulation, like right off the bat. I say let them get their one-on-one in, and then if they want to do an extreme, a stipulation type match, then let that be their next match. But I want a one-on-one. I don't want some stipulation like right off the bat.
All right. This is a match where you watch it and then you try to see, all right, based off of the outcome, where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have two women's tag teams, Asuka and Alexa, and you have Dakota and Io. So, they can continue to play in the tag team scene. But both of those teams lost in the tournament. So, what type of threat can they be initially to the champs? And then Bayley and Bianca are out there, and that, to me, that's the money match.
And are they the one that's next in line?
Don't know.
Yeah,
back to Rhea and Bianca.
Yeah.
The Survivor Series is usually title versus, brand versus brand, and title versus title, essentially.
When is that one?
Survivor Series is always November, right?
November. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're doing a Saudi show in November, so I don't know if they're going to pull two off in the same month. I'm not sure how it breaks down.
We'll see. Mm-hmm.
All right, so around the horn real quick. Who you got again? I got Control.
Control. All right. Getting to the title matches now. Intercontinental Championship. Gunther versus Sheamus.
Before you talk, how do you like Butch?
You mean Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne is higher. Gimmick.
Hey, we're getting the reset into Pete Dunne, right? They've even referenced it on commentary last night, and that's one of the things that Triple H, again, not to harken back to that interview, but there were so many jewels in it. That's one of the things that he said, that he wants to get back to, is getting those individuals back to where they were in that reset. Butch Dunne. Hey, I mean, the Butch nickname can stick as a nickname if they're gonna, you know what I mean? At least the way that he presented it last night, it's not just you went from Butch back to Pete Dunne with no explanation, right? The gear changed. He pulled the hair down. We saw the way he worked in the ring. It was Pete Dunne all the way, joint manipulation, all that stuff. I mean, the bruiserweight, so I'm okay with him transforming back into Pete Dunne. I think it's the right way to go with his character. With that. So, and I thought it was a good use to not have Sheamus and Gunther touch before the match.
Mm-hmm.
We would see all the time, and this is not just a WWE thing, it's within other companies, but you would see all the time where the guys that are fighting, they get into they touch too much before the pay-per-view or premium live event. So then it's like, well, why do I want to watch them at the premium live event? Because I've seen them so many times.
Lost art.
And this is a prime case of, you can do things story-wise that still promotes the match, but they don't have to touch.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was a great job of it. Them two are going to go in and beat the shit out of each other, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to love the entire time.
I can't wait to see Sheamus coming out.
Oh,
because he's going to be beat red.
Yeah. definitely the crowd is going to be hot for this.
Yeah.
For sure. Chris said this could be match of the night. I think these two are going to try and bring down the house. Nice to get the IC title on a pay-per-view / POE for the first time in like 2 years.
It's been longer than 2 years. And again, Triple H talked about that last on the interview. You know, he said, if I want the Intercontinental title to mean something, I have to make it mean something. Same with the United States title. I have to make it mean something. So we saw the very first night of Raw that he took over. They made the U.S. title more relevant than it's been in 5 years. Probably since Cena had it and was doing the Open Challenge was the last time the U.S. title felt that relevant. And he did that in one night just based off of booking the whole show around it. So, yeah, this match, the crowd is going to lose their minds in this match.
Yes.
For both guys. So
would you start this match off?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, we always talk about, you know, if you're not last, you want to be first because you set the tone. If you send them two out there and they put on the match that I'm expecting them to have, it's going to be tough to deliver after that. I didn't even think about this match going on first, but now that it's been brought up, I kind of like it being in that slot.
It's either this or Riddle and
Seth. That's what I was thinking too, Jay.
I'm seeing two people from over there, you know, over in Europe. Hey, let's spark it right now.
I mean, yeah, they come on and you hear Sheamus's. The only thing that I'm going to miss about this match is not hearing Pat McAfee call it.
He's not going over?
As far as I know, no. I don't think he does any UK international shows. I could be completely wrong because they taped SmackDown last night, so it's not like they had a live SmackDown. But if he's there and he's there commentating this, yeah. I got Gunther.
Yeah, I got Gunther also.
Wow. Sheamus has never been IC champ. I didn't realize that. I'm going to go Sheamus.
If the timing was different, I could see it. But just based off of where Gunther is at and how long he's had the belt, like, he's somebody that needs to be old school with it, where you book him in a nice, long, strong IC title run, and once he does drop it, he's immediately in your main event picture.
Yes.
Would you run this back?
Yeah, I could see them running it back at Extreme Rules. Not that I would be okay with it, but there's a scenario where I could see it.
Jason, that's for you.
Of course I am what?
Running it
Sheamus
back.
the win. Sheamus the win.
I never thought we'd get a honky tonk breakfast on the show, but there it is.
All right. So let's get to the next. Here. SmackDown Women's Championship. The champ Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler.
I've enjoyed this story because we're getting the Shayna Baszler that we should have gotten when she was called up from NXT, based off of what she did in NXT in the legit badass, as Ronda Rousey said. You used to be a badass, now you're just soft. And we're getting that presentation for Shayna. Look, Liv to me was never a long-term women's champ.
Yes.
She wasn't somebody that's going to carry the belt long.
Good story.
She got the run, she got the pop. Crowd was behind her. They want to see it. I got Shayna all day. There's not a whole lot to break down here.
Yeah, same here. I got Shayna as well.
I got Shayna. Surprised they kept them off TV for the past few weeks. Backstage segments.
Well, and that was Liv actually hurt? Do we know, or was that just all part of the storyline?
I don't know.
All of her pictures is around. She was in the brace, so all over an IG and everything. So who knows? Probably just playing it up for kayfabe.
I mean, not to go off into the weeds here on a sidebar, but if you have Liv being off TV with an injury the way that she was, and there's another women's champ that was kept off TV for an injury and being presented the way that she was, who relinquished her title due to a legitimate injury, although there's questions and concerns with that, which I'll bring up on tomorrow's show. A little teaser for you to tune back in tomorrow for some tea. It doesn't feel like Liv's irrelevant, even though she hasn't been in the ring each and every single week.
I thought they kept her off just because the crowd reaction. Keep it the quick backstage segments.
I mean, that first night back out, they were chanting "You tapped out" after Ronda. So
he got to fight through it.
And now Ronda's getting the pops again.
That last night was the best Ronda. Last night was the best Ronda Rousey has looked in a WWE ring. It was the best segment for her. Period.
Can I say Pierce had the best promo of the week in wrestling?
Dude, how is he the bad guy? That was the best babyface promo I've seen in how long? Nobody asked me about how I'm doing with my kids. Like, it was tremendous. Like, go ahead, Pierce. It's a thankless job. I get no appreciation. It's just, you didn't do this for me. You didn't do that for me. And I'm like, he's spitting facts right now. And if this leads to a Ronda Rousey versus Adam Pearce match, I'm all in for it. So I'm sold. Like,
who was the last person he fought? Roman, I think.
Pierce will bump and sell his ass off for her and make her look like $1 million bucks.
So we all got Shayna.
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah, that's by everybody. Clean sweep.
I mean, look, Shayna's right for a lot of reasons, but I think there's money in Shayna versus Ronda.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And they keep teasing.
And I feel there's even more money in it because of Triple H being behind the creative and booking it. So you want to talk about real life and storylines being blurred and what's a shoot and what's a work and everything else. That is tailor-made for that type of professional wrestling where you don't know what's real, what's fake, and they can go a million different directions with it, and I'll buy into it all the way. So,
Chris says, anyone think this is a way to remove Pierce from the boss role?
But they got to have somebody that's quote unquote in some type of head role,
figurehead on TV.
Yeah, they got to have.
That's why I thought Kurt was coming back for real to be a GM.
Who was it?
Kurt.
Okay.
I thought.
Can we talk about him just playing all the greatest hits on Monday night, because that was way better use than what they did with Trish the previous week. Somebody took a screen grab and photoshopped, and it was him in 2001 holding up the big Edge card that said "You suck," and then on Monday night he was holding up the card and said "You still suck," and it was 21 years later. Like, tremendous. Kurt had full head of hair then; he's bald now. Like, it was just tremendous. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you got Sonya Deville out of the role and she's back as an in-ring worker, you got to have somebody there. Mm-hmm. For some type of bridge between talent and,
upper management.
So I don't know who that person would be if you take Pierce out of that role. Mm-hmm. But just well done last night. That was one of my favorite segments of the show, and like I said, it's the best Rousey looked.
Yeah.
All right, and we go on to the final match.
He's 2 for 2 in 2 weeks with us not being able to throw something up on screen. So just know we see it, Taquan, and we get it. I owe you another $1, like I tell my kid.
We have the title match, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre.
I hated everything they did on SmackDown last night with the stupid celebration for Roman Reigns. You spent literally 2 hours just video packages and every other segment and going in and out of commercial breaks. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. It's 2 years. It's celebration. Sammy was great as Sammy is, and
that's what I was going to say.
tremendous.
Yep. I enjoyed Sammy,
Like,
which is
when he said you like my suit, it's tribal print, and then held it up to Jay's arm, I lost it. I was like, oh, how are these dudes not cracking? Like he got Roman and Jay to crack last week with him dancing in the chair. But yeah, I think, and this is a sidebar, then we'll get to the match. But the story they're telling with Sammy and Jimmy buying in and Jay not and everything else.
Yeah, I love it.
Solo Sikoa is being called up. It's a done deal. It's just a matter of when. And this is This is the storyline to get him up and involved. And it's going to be, Jay sticking with bloodline, because he talked about it last night. You're not blood, right? You're not blood. You're an honorary Uso. You're not blood. So this is a way to get Solo in, and you can run, Owens and Zayn versus the bloodline. Like there's branches off of that you can go that work. But Sammy right now, please keep him on my TV screen, because that man is unbelievable. So I got my hair did, and and then he was just in the ring, and after everything Jay would say, he was like 100. Like, it's like, dude, tremendous.
Yeah, that's sports entertainment there.
Yeah, sports entertainment done right.
Yes,
sports entertainment done right. That's not Jericho Sports Entertainment Society. No, that's sports entertainment done right. But the payoff was weak. Like,
what was Roman even in the building?
You hyped it up. Roman steps out and gets a Claymore, and then it's just Drew standing tall. It's like
they did that last week. Chris said, not saying Drew is a Triple H guy, but now that Triple H is in charge, should he be picked to be champ? No. Or his favorite, as he says in the interview, or stick with Roman?
No. Look, I said it on the show last week. Everything that they did the previous week was to build Drew up to be the guy to take the belt off Roman. Like, if you just watch that entire SmackDown and the video packages for Drew and everything else, it's like, oh, well, he's winning the belt. Like, this is it. 2 years celebration. It's over. Roman had his run. We're turning over a new leaf. Drew's going to get the rightful pop that he deserves, the one that he was robbed of at WrestleMania when he beat Lesnar because of the pandemic. It's in Cardiff. Like, everything says Drew, and I would be so disappointed if that's the case. Not a shot against Drew. Just I'm going to continue to die on this hill. Whoever beats Roman after 2 years is an automatic made guy.
Yeah.
And it needs to be somebody that's not already a star or looked at as a star on your show. You got to make somebody else that's stamped, approved, top guy next 5-7 years, whatever the case may be. Like, that's who needs to beat Roman. Drew, for me, doesn't fit that.
I think Vince said you can touch all this. You just can't touch that. Roman staying.
Yeah, I'm going with I'm staying with Roman. Yeah. I think they're doing all this just to pull the rug out from under everybody, except the smart marks.
And then there's too many people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be upset if we get like the Karrion Kross factor interfering in this match?
That's what I was expecting. Yeah. because he's only calling out Cross. So they're not going to. I mean, if Roman loses, where does Roman go? Does he just go away?
That's what I mean. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense for him to lose. Looking at the fallout from him losing, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have, like you said, you have Cross going at McIntyre.
you got Cross going after both people.
Then Roman's not in the picture, and that's not going to happen like that. So,
I mean, look,
he is going after both. That is right.
Yeah,
he is
at the Roses.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, pull up Chris's. Anytime you have a long-term champ, there's a short run. I'm thinking Drew could be his transitional champ, and that would be a disservice to Drew.
Yeah, it'll be a waste of time.
We don't want him as champ. We don't want him as transitional champ. You're not this guy, but you're not this guy.
No, he had his run already.
Yeah,
he had his
run. I don't mind seeing him again, but not.
Yeah, he had his run already. Too bad it was during the pandemic, but hey, suck it up. Kofi did. He didn't get a rematch yet, so too bad.
I think adding Cross into the picture, if you keep the belt on Reigns, you can do more things going forward to bide you time to get to, if you're going to have The Rock come back, and Triple H talked about that as well in the interview. Yeah. For Mania, that's, if you don't have The Rock, then it got to be somebody winning the Rumble that's going to be the build to Reigns losing. Like, I don't see Reigns carrying the belt past Mania next year if he doesn't drop it today. Well, we don't know who it is.
We don't know who it is. That guy isn't in charge anymore.
Yeah, without Vince here, I don't know if this the grandson of a plumber baby is going to be the guy to take it off Roman Reigns, because
especially with the new guy in charge, be like, yeah, remember when you broke that throne?
Hey, he's good at mending fences.
Remember that? Yeah, remember that pay-per-view with you and your friends, and you smashed my throne?
You might see Punk back. He's good at mending fences.
No. That'll never happen. Never. Yeah, listen, for me, Roman, I got Reigns. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it last week. You have 60,000+ people, and you send them home miserable instead of sending them home happy. And that sounds counterintuitive to everything that we've been taught in pro wrestling. This guy. Tremendous stuff. We're gonna have to bring him live on the show. We're gonna have to be like, all right, we gotta set a filter here with some stuff. But no, that's tremendous. I just don't. I don't see the. I can see Triple H wanting to do it as, okay, putting my stamp on. Okay, this is my era, my time, right? I don't feel like Drew's that guy for Triple H. Like, if this was Owens in this match, I could see it being more, okay, we're turning it over, like
pull the trigger.
But Drew's not necessarily viewed as like one of Triple H's guys. So although he did bring him back into the fold in NXT and everything else, like, send him, Roman Reigns going tall, fireworks going off, both belts over his head, and then maybe you have Cross attack. I don't know, but we get that unexpected NXT finish to go to black, like we used to expect so many times with takeovers back in the day, which made you want to watch all the way through to the end of the show because you never know what was going to happen. So
past that stamp mark.
Yeah, and we're getting Braun Strowman at Raw on Monday.
God, throw me through a window.
Reports are Bray Wyatt's in Cardiff has been spotted.
That's my boy Dakota's pick. He's saying he's gonna ruin it. He's gonna ruin everything. The whole main event.
So I mean,
take over.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect.
Hunter's getting his 4 to 6 guys.
The fact that it's out there, I hate it already.
Yeah.
Because then when it happens,
they're gonna be like,
that Strowman comes in, or that Wyatt's allegedly in Cardiff.
Either or. Strowman I'd have been surprised, but
Wyatt being in Cardiff is just like, come on, man. Like, keep shit to yourself. Fans, come on.
Can't Johnny Gargano this?
It's like, man.
Yeah, I got Reigns. I got Roman.
I do too. Roman.
It's supposedly Heyman's going to be back with him tonight too. So
that's good.
His suspension is over. For those of you that don't know, Heyman got suspended, which is why he's been off TV selling injuries from Lesnar's F5 and hasn't been around. So allegedly the suspension is over and he'll be back with his tribal chief tonight. And I say that as a plus because they also had him narrate the package for Roman. Mm-hmm. So, kind of the setup to have the wise man back in the fold tomorrow night. So we'll see with that. All right. Everybody got Roman, or is somebody with a Drew pick?
Nope.
All right. What's your match of the night? Clash of the Castle. What's your match of the night? Real quick, because we got to get into Worlds Collide.
Riddle Seth.
Walter
Gunther. I stood on that as soon as they made the match. I'm not going to follow. I'm not going to go off of that. Although Seth and Riddle would be my 1B.
Yeah. Like those are flip flop.
All right. Good. All right. Let's get it. Worlds Collide. Tomorrow.
About it or just throw it up.
To me,
we could talk about it briefly, but before we run through the card, we won't spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about it briefly. It's tomorrow, 4:00 on Peacock.
Okay.
So that'll take you into All Out. Probably wrap up a little bit before the 0 hour. Mm-hmm. So if you're a wrestling mark, tomorrow you're watching wrestling from 4 p.m. to midnight. So a nice 8-hour workday.
Maybe a little bit after midnight for how many matches that night one got.
Yeah. So, all right.
To me, NXT had the best go home show because they were all trash.
Yeah, there was no solid go home show this week, leading into a pay-per-view filled weekend. We'll get into AEW's debacle tomorrow. I got so much to say about that.
You would be.
Yeah, if I'm picking one as the one that I like the best this week, I would give it to NXT. I'm with you there, Jay. Now, the reason before we get into the matches, and we'll run through them real quick, but again, not to harken back to that interview, but it literally does set up the direction creatively where they're going, what Triple H's vision is going to be, what he wants to do. And he talked about it with the NXT UK and how they're pulling it back now to relaunch it and give it the NXT Europe feel that they wanted to do prior to the pandemic with all of the, I guess, quote unquote, global spots. So he still wants to, I'm not even going to read that because I know it'll distract me. So he wants to get back to NXT Europe, NXT India, NXT Mexico, NXT Japan, and then have it to where you have this, and he called it a World Cup-esque, meeting once or twice a year where you're getting all these champions challenging each other and doing the whole thing there. So we see the vision and direction where he wants to go from it. And he talked about, the creative change in NXT and what happened with it. And, not that he was disappointed in it, but they reset it back to what they originally wanted it to be, which was the developmental deal, and talked about NIL and all that other stuff. So I'm not going to deep dive into that, but I think this is a solid way to get NXT UK off. You still keep the main players from there around in NXT to keep them relevant and on TV. And then you relaunch NXT Europe with the fanfare and everything else that you're going to do sometime next year. And you bring your other players back into the fold that you may have released because of this reset. So I'm excited to see the relaunch when we get it, a couple months from now, because the UK is a hotbed. We know it's a hotbed. It's going to be, if they put it on in a stadium match show like they're doing in Cardiff, it's going to sell out and be insane. So I'm okay with that, with where they're at. So Worlds Collide. Let's run through the card real quick.
All right.
What we got?
First one's the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Doudrop and Nikki ASH.
This one, I was like, meh. Out of all the ones that they announced with like main roster people coming down for it, I was like, doesn't really help Katana. You know what I mean? It doesn't really help them go over because if they beat Doudrop and Nikki ASH, I think this match will be more of a springboard to the turmoil between Nikki and Doudrop, and hopefully we get the Doudrop dropped and we can get back to Piper Niven and she can go on a run, because that's another talent that can be elevated in your women's division moving forward. So I'll keep it on the NXT champs to retain here.
I hate it because it's for the belt. If they'd have just had a match, I wouldn't mind it. So that there, I'm saying Chance and Carter are going over.
Yeah. They just got Doudrop and Nikki there because they're from over there. So, just to get the pop. Yeah, no way Chance and Carter's losing. All right. Next one is NXT North American Championship, Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
Another one. I'd want to see the match, but don't care that the title's involved. To me, this is going to be a match of the night.
This may be match of the weekend. And that's no cap. Like I'm being 100, like 1,000%. You could potentially have this be match of the weekend, because this particular match, out of all the WWE matches, this one fits the AEW mold the most as far as spot fest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be spots with storytelling.
Yeah.
So, and this, Melo to me is the 5-tool player. The only thing that he's lacking is height. So whether or not he truly gets a run, I don't know, because Vince isn't in charge no more. So that may not be as much of a hindrance on him with Triple H involved. But him and Ricochet, man, that's like watching, Phoenix and Osprey or something. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be that's going to be the match on the card for me, 1,000%.
Yeah, definitely match of the day. You said week for sure. Carmelo's going to win. He's retaining. Ricochet ain't going to win.
This guy.
Come on, man.
Jay, what are you talking about? This is your representation right now. You should be screaming from the rooftop for this match.
I feel like Taquan is dark skin. I feel like he's throwing jabs.
He said Ed Drake is the referee for the light skin excellence. That's tremendous.
Chris says Carmelo doesn't need it. Shine Gross talking more. I see Ricochet win as a surprise factor, but Carmelo retain.
I mean, like, having Ricochet win would be a surprise and shock and awe. And if you're going to get him back on NXT for a little run, I'm okay with that. But I don't think he needs it. I think Triple H will set him enough on the main roster. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's good at where he's at right now. He just came off the belt.
And he said he wants and he said he wants a chance at the title again.
What the IC?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's in the picture. So
yeah.
All right. Next is the Fatal 4-Way Unification match. NXT champs, the Creed brothers, NXT UK champs Brooks and with Jensen and Briggs versus Gallows versus Pretty Deadly. It's too damn much in this match.
Yeah, this one's gonna be hard to pull off. And I just say that because half your roster is super green, like in this match. You know, four out of these eight guys are just, you know, like year plus in, so it's kind of like
different styles too, everything.
Yeah. I really dislike Pretty Deadly, but it's a dislike in like a professional wrestling way, to where like they make me hate them, and that's good because they're doing their job well. I don't get Briggs and Jensen. I don't understand. I don't know why they won the belts in the first place. They do nothing for me.
I like Briggs. I hate Jensen.
Gallus, I really like them as a unit. Like having them feud with the Creed brothers from this moving forward, I'm okay with and want to see. So I'll go with the Creed brothers to unify the belts and then put them in a program right away with Gallus and let them run with that. Because you're lacking tag team depth in NXT. That's legitimate threats. So if you have Gallus stick around and let them run while you're resetting the whole NXT Europe thing, I think that's good for them. Because you're going to have established people when you relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping them around to get them built up and have them established, then I'm okay with doing that.
Yeah, Creed brothers are going to retain. I mean, I'm not big on them anyway, but I would like to see Pretty Deadly win because they are highly entertaining.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Burt Wonderstone. That's what I call
them. To me, they're like Zoolander turned up to 1,000.
They are.
You know, which, like I said, I love to hate them. Like they every time I see them on my screen, I'm just like, dude, I hate you guys so much. But it's like, oh, you're so good at your job that you're making me hate you this much. Like, and that's from the minute they debuted. Like that was instant. Like, you know.
I'm gonna go Creed. I think they still gotta do something with Diamond Mine. They still got a Diamond Mine story to tell. So I'll go with the Creed brothers. Unless Roddick crosses tomorrow. They still got to cap off that story. So I'm gonna go Creed brothers.
They do. All right, next match. The triple threat unification match. NXT Women's Champ Mandy Rose versus NXT UK Women's Champ Manko, was that the Sakumura versus Blair Davenport?
There is one certain in this match. Davenport's taking the pin.
As much as I hate to say it, I completely agree with you. Hey, this is gonna be a wrestling fans, true wrestling fans, worst pick of the night, because I'm putting this on Mandy Rose 1,000%.
Mandy's winning.
Everybody hates Mandy. She can't wrestle. She's not good enough. How has she had the belt this long? She's terrible. This is the best work she's done in her career.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I enjoy her.
Like, granted, every time she's in there, I'm worried about somebody getting hurt. But at the same time, like, yeah, Mandy, absolutely, Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to say about this, but the fact that she's going to be the most decorated NXT Women's Champion, and how that makes true wrestling fans, you know, the smart marks out there, skins crawl. I just love it. So put it on Mandy and let her continue.
Are they the same one, Champion Jade?
Let her continue to run with it.
Yeah.
All right. And the last match, unification match, NXT Champ Braun Breaker versus NXT UK Champ Tyler Bate.
Give me Bate.
From a wrestling fan standpoint, I want to see Bate even though he's had some checkered issues in his past, and I saw a lot of that re-pop up with him being back on TV, with the whole Me Too movement stuff. Braun is like in an interesting spot because it was, the rocket ship being put on him and everything else, and then that talk has died down drastically.
Yes, I have.
So, not to say that it still won't happen, because Triple H spoke glowingly about him in the interview when he was discussing the NIL and why they're doing it and how they're doing it, and he talked about him and Tony D'Angelo and everything else. Being a year in, basically learning on TV on the fly, doing it, but getting it and looking as good as they have in that year is like a credit to both of those men. And I definitely see it with Braun. I think Tyler will bring out the best in Braun from a wrestling standpoint because of how good Bate is in the ring. Because, Braun, it depends on who he's in there with. Sometimes he looks really good, and other times it's like, oh, yeah, you're still just a year into this thing. Like, you know what I mean? So I think from that standpoint, match-wise, I think Bate will be really good for him and make him look like $1 million. I want Bate, but they're going to go with Braun.
I'm going to go with Bate because a UK person have to win on this pay-per-view sometimes.
You would think, right?
Everything else is set up for NXT.
Well, I mean, it would be the American thing to do to just have Worlds Collide. Have every American win on the show, right?
Hey, we learn from the best, history-wise.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Bate Devlin, I don't know.
I don't like Devlin's character, but
yeah, the JD McDonough, it's too close to what Gacy's doing, even though it's not 100% similar to what Gacy's doing. But I see it, and I'm just like, all right, you have this on the show already. I don't need two people running the same character, so to speak. So, but yeah, Bate. Braun's gonna win. It's just a matter of how good Bate makes him look. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bates win because we have the swerves before from NXT. So, like you said, somebody from NXT UK got to win a match here, or else you're just completely cutting the knees out from the brand. You're taking them off air, and you have all their champs lose.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly. What are you gonna do? Triple H gonna argue with Triple H? Hey, you killed my champ.
Right.
So, we get new belts, or are we?
So there is rumor that Triple H is in the belt lab redesigning every single belt.
They need to. They can't be all these cookie cutter belts and everything. Like, give each belt its own, unique look.
Yo, the North American belt still stands out to me as different than everything else. I still like that belt. I don't hate the women's and men's NXT titles with the fluorescent tie-dye look.
Adding the white to women's. I really like that.
Like I do. I'm not mad at that so much because you just redesigned those ones. So I don't know. Maybe you keep them around. But everything else can use a fresh coat of paint as far as the belt design is looked upon, especially on main roster stuff.
Main roster, yeah. Every belt should have its own personality. It should. Every single one.
Does anybody else have another match besides Melo and Ricochet as match of the night on this card?
No. I think the tag match, because it's like so many different styles, it's going to be chaos. So. That could possibly be match of the night.
Out of Clash at the Castle and Worlds Collide, what pay-per-view are you looking forward to watching the most?
Worlds Collide have a takeover feel to it.
Clash.
No, Worlds Collide is going to be in where they shoot NXT at, right? Like that's not somewhere else. Isn't that coming from?
There's probably somewhere different. It's not going to fill that stadium.
No.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that they would put it on in Cardiff, but just itself.
DC.
But yeah, isn't it at the whatever center they call it or whatever, where they just shoot NXT? Like they're not elsewhere in the state of Florida doing a show, are they?
I don't know. That's a
no.
good question. You can draw with this, but
Yeah, like to me that would help this event if it's somewhere else.
Chris said it's in the
DC.
PC.
Yeah. See,
See, nah.
that hurts it a little bit.
It does. Because you just get the same fans. To me, down there, it's the same fans.
and I'm getting tired of seeing the Rock looking dude.
You need a different atmosphere for this then. And then I
At
take
least-
that back then. At least I'm going Clash then.
At least change up the look. Like I know they build it the way that they did to get the most people in there, but if you're doing some type of event like this, then you got to change it up. You got to adjust everything. Like, and that's one of the things that about AEW tomorrow when we get into it about set design and everything else to see. Like, you got to make it different than what you put on every single week with Dynamite and Rampage.
What's your pay-per-views?
Yes.
Yeah.
We agree.
So, all right. Well, that's it for the World of Pro Wrestling. We are about a little over a half hour away from Clash. So hit us up on social media. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. Tomorrow from World of Wrestling, we're going to go live, predict AEW All Out, talk about the week that was in AEW and get into some in-depth stuff there because there's a lot that happened and a lot going on in and outside of the ring with that company, as has been the case over the past couple of weeks. I'll just throw this out there. Watch Triple H's interview with Ariel and then listen to Tony Khan's press conference. Got a lot more confidence in the game, running a company and doing things correctly compared to where Tony Khan's at right now. So, little tease.
Did the game look a little bit older to you in that interview?
Did what?
Did the game look a little bit older to you in that interview?
I mean, he just had a heart attack.
Yeah, but I mean, he almost to hear him talk about his health issues in depth and go into everything and get emotional the way that he did, and like for it to be that serious as it was, and 15 hours of open heart surgery over the course of 2 days, like it's insane. To see him, and he even said that, like, I changed my perspective on life and changed my outlook, because when you're told you can die, going to a board meeting on Friday afternoon don't mean shit. Like, so yeah, I think it's given him new perspective, new outlook, but it's also rejuvenated him to, I think that's why you're going to get the best work that you get from Triple H moving forward in this role, so to speak. So, all right. That's it for the world of wrestling. Real quick, let's run into some sports stuff here because, we get college football's back. Week 1 in effect, starting Thursday night. They're giving us 5 straight days of college football. Great games Thursday night. Obviously, the backyard brawl, Pitt, West Virginia, 11 years in the making. Touched on it in the open. Tremendous game. But Penn State Purdue was another game that was on at the same time, and that one came down to a game-winning drive in under a minute. So Thursday night, if you're a football fan, it gave you everything and then some. I feel bad that Purdue lost, because if they would have won that game, it would have been instantly called the Puke 6 game. Purdue picked off a pass, ran it back, pick 6. Penn State was down 31-28, and then they went on a 80-yard drive to score a touchdown with 50-some seconds left to go up and eventually win the game. So you have that classic moment that happens, the classic tagline for the game, and then Penn State, I hate them, they come back and find a sleazy, slimy way to win. But today, starting off, there's some big games. I guess the 2 biggest games would be Oregon versus Georgia on at 3:30, and then you have Ohio State, Notre Dame tonight, 7:30 from the Horseshoe in Columbus. So out of those two games, who you got real quick? Georgia, Oregon.
I got Georgia.
Georgia.
I may have went with Oregon potentially as an upset, but then I realized that they have Bo Nix as their quarterback who transferred from Auburn, and he absolutely stinks. So Georgia's going to rout them. He's terrible. So Georgia's going to rout them. I really hope, and I can't believe I'm saying this as a Pitt fan, I really hope Notre Dame beats Ohio State. And the only reason why I'm pulling for Notre Dame is because of Marcus Freeman. I want to see him, come in, get his fair and just due, leading the program. Took over for Brian Kelly, who left for LSU. And we'll touch on that game in a second tomorrow night. But it's number 2 versus number 5, and we'll see how that plays out. Typically, those games don't live up to the hype. It's typically a blowout week 1. But who you got? Ohio State, Notre Dame.
I don't like Notre Dame, but I want Notre Dame to win because you know me, I like chaos in college football. So let's start it off right now.
I don't like Ohio State. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, this is the lesser of two evils because I hate both of these teams.
Same here.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman gives me the edge, so I'll take Notre Dame. Tomorrow night, LSU, Florida State. Florida State, another one of my favorite teams. It's them and Pitt. In LSU, in Baton Rouge, Sunday night, Brian Kelly, that fraud of a human being that he is, just the worst type of person. I got Florida State, even though it's in LSU. I don't care. I'm not picking against the Noles. So give me Florida State.
Have they been trash lately?
They have been. But Norvell, this is Norvell's second year, and he got some players in there. Jordan Travis actually looks like the real deal at quarterback. They still got athletes all over the field. They may be a year away to where they're legitimate again, but I think they have enough to make the game interesting. Although LSU at night in Tiger Stadium is one of the hardest places to win.
Yeah. I want Florida State to win.
Yeah,
I'm not an LSU fan. Whatever. Never really liked LSU. So,
and then Monday night it tops off with Clemson against Georgia Tech. Not the sexiest matchup, but how is Clemson number 4 in the country? You lose 3 games last year. See, that's what's wrong with preseason polls. We talk about it all the time on the show. But preseason polls hurt because the perception is that these teams are as good as they are when it should be based off of your record last year and what you've done recruiting wise, etc., not what you've done the last 5 years.
True.
That's why the playoff, it was always the same 4 teams.
Tech.
Clemson's going to rout them.
Clemson's going to beat them, but you know me, give me Georgia Tech for the chaos.
Speaking of chaos, the announcement came out yesterday. 12-team playoff. Scheduled to start in 2026, although there's pressure to bump it up to 2024 in college football. Right move, wrong move?
Right
to
move.
Expand the playoff?
If you get rid of all those bowls, right move.
Those bowls ain't going anywhere.
I don't need a pinstripe bowl. I don't need Capital One.
I think they're still going to have that for the teams that don't make the playoffs.
They don't need shit.
But yeah, I'm for it. It gives more teams more opportunity.
Yeah.
So here's the breakdown for how it's going to work. 12-team college football playoff. You're going to have the 6 highest ranked conference champions and the 6 highest ranked non-champs. Okay. So you have your 6 conferences. You win your conference, you're in. Then based off of those 6 champions, they'll be seeded accordingly based on who's highest ranked. Then your 6 highest non-ranked champs. So the 6 highest teams behind them that didn't win their conference get in. Top 4 conference champs get a bye.
For that.
Highest seeds host first-round games. Quarterfinal and semifinal matchups will be played in bowl games. So you'll still get your Rose Bowl, your Orange Bowl, your Sugar Bowl, your Peach Bowl
and
will
all
probably
that.
be the 4 that they run the semifinals in. And then the title game will be at a neutral site. So they'll just continue to rotate the 5 that they do now with the semifinal and the final and who gets what.
Yeah.
To me, that's what they'll do as far as that goes. But I like it. I'm here for it. I think it's good. They showed a graphic on ESPN based off of last year's rankings, how it would have played out and who would have faced off against who and everything. And looking at it, I was excited. You had potential for upsets and matchups and everything else. So I think this is a step in the right direction. It was long overdue. They were the only college sport that don't have a true playoff outside of March Madness. Right? Like they're the only college football division because there's how many divisions that don't do a true playoff. And now we're getting that in the fold. So we'll see how it plays out. See if they're able to bump it up to 2024. My feeling is that they'll keep it in 2026 and go from there.
Yeah,
because that's where the conference realignment takes place with Oklahoma and then moving over and all that other jazz.
Yeah, they said they probably can't get to 2024 either because of logistics. They already got TV deals in with certain bowl games and all that stuff,
right?
And hotels, but mainly the logistics with hotels and cities.
Yeah, that'll be a whole new crop of players.
And they said too, like how players opt out, like Pickett did. Then now the superstars could stay in because they got something to work forward to. It's just not a one-off game. Yeah, it's just not a one-off.
Now, does this shorten the regular season for you guys? So instead of 12 games, you play like 9?
I'm okay with that.
I wouldn't.
It's like high school football then. It's like high school football then.
I think if you go, because they play 12 now, and then if you make the playoff, you have 2 more games. So you're looking at 14 games, 15 games, I think, total. So I think if you play 10 regular season and then you have, numbers wise, it still works out to be around the same math for how many games they're playing. We'll see how all that adjusts and plays out, but
I'll be okay with that.
But it'll add excitement to it, and you'll get the UCFs from how 4, 5, 6 years ago that claim that they should have been in a national title game. You'll get them to have a chance.
You'll get them, yeah, because they'll be one of the 6 conference champions. Will be from the other 5 conferences, so the highest champ from there would be automatically in.
And also, I feel like it does more to. I'm tired of seeing some version of Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma or Notre Dame. Maybe there was Oregon sprinkled in there a couple years. Like that, it's literally all that it's been. And if you look at the statistics since the college football playoff came into it, those teams have made it multiple times. Florida State was in there. But yeah, other than that, it's been those 4 teams for the most part. So it's like, all right, not saying that they're going to lose, but at least there's intrigue.
Freshen it up. Yeah, freshen it up.
Yeah.
And they said on College Game Day this morning too, how like after the conference championships happen, there's like a dead period until, the big bowl games come up. So at least this will run and keep that momentum going.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else? Nope. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Like we said, we kept it short and sweet. A lot of stuff going on. So
you want to do one gotta go?
Yeah. Let's go.
Chris made that up.
All right. Coming off the educational Goosebumps poll from last week, which Goosebumps book gotta go?
It was Say Cheese and Die had the most votes.
Just off the title.
That had the most votes. It was close on my poll. It was real close. All right, this is Chris's week, and this is his one gotta go. It's Nicktoons. So we have Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and Rocco's Modern Life.
I low-key hated all these shows.
So Chris said this is a list of the 4 original Nicktoons in order of appearance. And Donald just put up the quote that I just read off. So good job there. I watched Nicktoons. I watched all these growing up. Doug, Captain Under, like Doug staying. I'm not getting rid of Doug. Do like the theme song. It's just, yeah. Rugrats ain't going nowhere. That's classic. Everything about Rugrats was tremendous. Ren and Stimpy, to me, Ren and Stimpy was like SpongeBob before SpongeBob, where it's advertised as a kid's cartoon, but it's not a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
Like I should not have been watching Ren and Stimpy as a kid.
None of us should. No.
Yeah, no, just like kids should not watch SpongeBob. And y'all want to argue with that SpongeBob with me? Really watch SpongeBob. It's not a kid's cartoon. So yeah, Ren and Stimpy was the one that I shouldn't have been watching as a kid. Rocko's Modern Life didn't really do that much for me, so I'm gonna boot that one off just because that one I wasn't tuned in and really cared about Rocko's Modern Life as much as the other one. So I'll get rid of Rocko.
Doug is staying because it's Doug. Rugrats is staying because that's the one I watched the most. Ren and Stimpy had its funny moments, so that's staying. Rocko, I hated everything about Rocko's Modern Life. It got to go.
I'm with agreement with you guys. Doug is staying. He had the imagination. He was a regular kid. Loved the theme music. Loved Patty Mayonnaise on it. Just
Patty
love
Mayonnaise.
Rugrats is staying. The best like little baby show ever. I loved Angelica because she was a tormentor. That was probably my favorite character. Ren and Stimpy. It was like the Beavis and Butthead of its time, like kids wise, for the stuff that they were doing, like peeing on the electric fence. I think those were one of the segments that had me like super dead.
Not a kid show.
Which is like, what is this? Rocko, I did not mind Rocko, but out of like the other 3 of these, Rocko is definitely the one that I have to go. And here was Chris's right here. So Doug was by far my favorite Nicktoon ever. Wasn't as good when Disney bought it. Rugrats is a classic, isn't going anywhere. For me, Rocko doesn't compare with the others. So that is the one that has to go for me.
Yeah, I don't mean for the 4 of us to agree and do a clean sweep to get Rocko's Modern Life off here. Like I kind of got a feeling how this week's voting is going to go, but we've been surprised before in the past where we've all kicked one off, and it turns out that that's not the one that the audience has agreed with. So again, once we throw that out there, vote. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, comment, let us know which one got to go. So yeah, I think we did a good job. We got through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We made it.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts here, real quick. For those of you that are older and watch Law and Order and have been involved with Law and Order for the 20 plus years that it's been on, their season premiere coming up here towards the end of the month to kick off the fall season. They're doing a first time ever 3-hour, 3-show crossover event. So Law and Order SVU, and Law and Order Organized Crime will all be involved in some sort of storyline. So we're getting Jack McCoy, Olivia Benson, and Stabler all involved on the same case for the first time. So I'll be tuning in to watch that. And then one thing in sports that I saw, Donald, you'll get a kick out of this. Serena Williams just had a little bit of a run here in the U.S. Open. She lost last night in a 3-set match. But little bar trivia nugget for you. August 29th, 2001. Serena Williams won her match at the U.S. Open. Albert Pujols hit a home run. And Vladimir Guerrero Sr., Craig Biggio, and Dante Bichette all recorded a hit. August 29th, 2022. 21 years later, Serena won her match at the U.S. Open. Pujols hit a home run. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, and Bo Bichette, the sons of Vlad Sr., Craig, and Dante, all recorded a hit. So a little bar trivia there for you on sports night. You want to take that, you can probably win a few free drinks off of that little questioning tidbit there.
Watching Tiger cheer on Serena, that was a moment. That was classic.
Well, Saquon last night was tremendous. Did you see him last night there? Saquon Barkley, he's there, and like he's sitting down and he's going like back and forth, like head movement, arm movement, the whole shebang, like facials, like it was great. It was a good cutaway.
Chris said something about Law and Order. So rumor NBC is dropping 10 o'clock programming after the season, which means one of the Law and Order shows could get axed.
Yeah, I saw that rumor. They're really the last one to run 10 o'clock p.m. programming on a national level. You know, the other channels is giving it to the local affiliates to let them do. There's more money in advertising there, and they save a dime. So it would fall in line with everybody else is doing, but we'll see there. And he also said he is Austin Theory again.
Okay.
So, all right.
One quick thing too. House of the Dragons. They had 10.2 million people watching again on Sunday at that time. So 2% increase. And overall during the week, it was 19.2 million people who watched that second episode. So
craziness.
Yeah, man, people talking about I hate Game of Thrones. Somebody's watching it. Yeah. I'm not gonna watch after season 8 was a disaster. Somebody's watching it.
I want to give a shout out to our we had on person we had on a show for a pod a couple months ago, Kaval Murray, in her Hopes Deal Consulting and Counseling, celebrated her 1 year, and she's doing official rebranding, which is good for her.
She launched a party. I wasn't able to get there, so I hit her up on social media. Apologize for not being able to go. But yeah, like I said, that was one of our when we do our 2-year recap here coming up. That was probably the best, my favorite episode we've done of the show this year. Just from the personal ties and everything else that went into it. But yeah, kudos to her, getting everything off the ground running, rebrand, relaunch, doing great things in the community as always. So keep up that. We love to see it. And let us know if you need anything to help out or get involved with. We are here for sure with that. So yeah, anybody got anything else?
Nope.
There's a couple things we need to touch on at some point in time just because of timing and everything else. 15 minutes before kickoff to class. So we'll save those and put those in the bank. And that, again, tomorrow, tune in live. We'll be going live. Hopefully, if Chris gets his internet working, I don't know, we may have to change up plans and figure this shit out. But we will get into, maybe a little recap from Clash, Worlds Collide, maybe a little watch along, and then we'll get into AEW's All Out predictions and how we see that event shaking out tomorrow night. Be safe. Enjoy the holiday weekend out there if you're spending it with friends and family. And then for this week's quote of the week, never regret a day in your life. Good days give happiness. Bad days give experience. Worst days give lessons. And the best days give memories. So with that being said, go out there and live life to the fullest. As always, I'm a Mark, you're a Mark, telemark. And until tomorrow, y'all can catch us around the way.